Welcome to the Creative Plane Podcast Network. Join us as we review our favorite RPGs, collectible card games, MMOs, video games, PC games, and bring up interesting topics and things that we'd like to share with everyone. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
She'd pay me.
What I say.
But then they can throw around words like premeditated.
They can try with premeditated, but once they know me, they'll know nothing is premeditated.
It is all off the
A fair
cuff.
point indeed.
Well, are we at time? Look at these lovely people.
Right about.
How delightful.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did everybody get coffee? The juice of life.
You
Caffeine
know,
infusions.
all the heretics drink coffee.
Breakfast tea.
No, people who want to be awake for a con at 10:30 drink coffee.
Some of us just mainline tea. I don't know what you're talking about. I am delighted you had your tea, madam.
Oh my gosh.
IV stand with some tea bags.
Is that a sombrero fascinator? Yes, it is.
Nice.
That is
Could
awesome.
I love you more? Maybe. But in this moment, it would be hard to get past my level of admiration for your chapeau. That is beautiful. You're welcome. Should we introduce ourselves?
We should.
I think the gentleman at the end with the large head in front of him
Head.
is a good starting point.
I am John Floyd, aka the Gentleman Robot. It's my wife Sabrina, aka Pepper. And we are here to represent not only Huachuca Mountain Steampunk Way to the southeast in the Sierra Vista, Arizona area, as well as we work with the lady at the other end on the TSS, Tucson Steampunk Society.
Yes.
And the foundry too.
And the Foundry.
You're triple agents.
Yes.
The Russians don't even know what to do with you now.
Nice.
And we work at the Wild West Con too.
Yes.
Hey, I've heard of that.
Hey, that's a good segue.
Yeah. Hi. Okay. So I am Jason Drotman, and I am the co-founder of the Arizona Steampunk Society, which is mostly Phoenix, but it sounds better if we say Arizona. We have had that for many years now. And we also, I'm the co-owner of the Wild Wild West Steampunk Convention, which takes place in Tucson, Arizona. Yay! Yes. So, and one of my personalities is Dr. Bond. So, wonderful jacket.
Or
Good things.
La Grande
The
Fromage.
Grand Fromage, because I am cheesy, and cheese is delicious.
And you are the big cheese.
Yes!
He is a Grand Fromage.
It is wonderful.
He is pretty
He cannot turn down cheese.
I am deeply cheesy. It ain't easy being cheesy.
That's going on a badge for you, sir.
Yeah, it should, probably.
But I'm sure.
I'm Dina Johnson. I am here representing the Arizona Steampunk Society, and I also am the volunteer manager for the Wild Wild West Steampunk Convention. Selfish plug, volunteer. Woohoo, March.
Yeah.
Volunteer, it's a good time.
Yes.
Oh, me!
Yes, you.
Hello, I'm glad to
lady.
meet you. Is there anyone here who hasn't met me yet this weekend? My heavens!
Oh.
For reals, Joe!
Well, we've fixed that now, haven't we?
Like, I was trying to just basically be in these two rooms non-stop for the last 3 days. So I'm sorry We did not have the opportunity to become acquainted.
You didn't make your bed in the back room, just so you know.
It's more like a hamster wheel where like tea drips down and I just keep chugging along and hoping for that big biscuit in the sky.
Do you know how much I want to make you one of those big water bottles with a ball and some tea in it?
Do you know how much I'd love you if you did that? So, I am one of the people who runs the Tucson Steampunk Society. I'm the president. We have a board, but president sounds really like not very steampunk, so I go by helmswoman. They let me take the helm, but other people navigate because I have no sense of direction. That's absolutely true. So we have a board of...
Because she drinks too much tea.
You know what, though? The tea helps. The jitters kind of like help me move into a better location, slowly. A jitter at a time.
She still doesn't know where she is, but she's happy she's there.
That's
Right.
true.
As long as she's standing there, there she is.
But no, as far as I'm concerned, north is wherever my nose is pointing. So right now I'm pointing north, right?
Of course.
Sure.
All right, good.
Seems plausible.
Make sure you humor her because it gets ugly.
Right. So, but we have a board of what? There's 5, 6 of us? 7?
7.
7. We have a board of 7 mighty, crazed people who like to throw events every month in Tucson.
Oh, more than one.
Oh, like, that's why I said events plural.
All right.
And I'm Madam Askew, as well as being Madam Askew, helmswoman. I do tea dueling, teapot racing. I work for Wild West Con as the tea department's tyrant and chief.
Yes. We tea mistress, I believe.
Tea-
is
No,
your
the
badge.
Mistress of tea.
The mistress
I'm
of
the
tea,
mistress
yes.
of tea, executor of time and tea, and tyrant of the TSS. Those are my titles.
Yes. Splendid.
It's very heavy.
Yes.
So, right, so, I mean, we're all friendly with each other, though. I mean,
This is
you're
true.
quadruple agents. You, like, work with all of the groups. We all work together to, like, you know, make steampunk a vibrant and happening thing in Arizona.
Well, these two wonderful humans also run the art and science exhibit at the Wild Wild West Steampunk Convention.
It's true.
Extra credit.
Yeah, no.
There's the 4th one.
No.
Yes.
Is that the 4th one or
That
the
is the
5th
fourth.
one?
It might be.
Four.
Agents of art, perhaps.
We
yeah.
could be sneaking back east or something and you don't know about it yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for them to kidnap you back east, honestly.
We are too.
No, I mean, I'll put a word in. If they ever kidnap me, they haven't, but if they do, I'll be like, no, bring my friends too. You should kidnap all of us.
They don't really have to kidnap you, though. They just have some delicious teas. And they're
Right.
like, look, there's tea this way. You should come
They're
this
like,
way.
hey, we're going to buy this for
We
you.
can kidnap you north where it's a bit cooler.
Oh, that'd be good.
Now, where are you, sir? Are you
Flagstaff.
Flagstaff?
Ah.
Delightful. I've been to that charming village of Flagstaff.
And we have a Flagstaff cosplay network on Facebook, and there is a steampunk section for Flagstaff cosplay.
Nice.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Because Flagstaff lends itself so well to steampunk. It's really
Yeah,
like
you're
a
not
very
going to
charming
die in the
city.
heat.
Right, you can wear more than one layer.
Right?
Right?
In the summer.
In the summer.
Yes.
And there's like, you know, mountains and things where you can adventure
Mm-hmm.
and not just like safari all the time,
That's true.
which is what we have to do in the southern part of the state.
And in Flagstaff, I can avoid walking into cactus.
What?
Yes.
We have a few cactus.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
gonna
Oh,
say,
you're
we
still
still
going
have
to
some.
find the
I'll still walk
cactus.
into cactus.
He is our
okay.
example of why you look behind you before you walk backwards. to
So if you're
direct
giving a
people.
tour of a location in the desert, it turns out, no matter how high your boots are, walking backwards and going, everyone come this way, and not paying attention to, say, a 6-foot-tall jumping choya.
You know, it's supposed to be only tourists who do that, sir.
Well, I was the tour director, so I was the king of tourists for the moment.
To make it worse, he's a
Lead
native.
by example.
Right,
He's
yeah.
a native. And
Lead
he's
by
still
bad
tourist.
example.
Exactly.
Oh,
Don't do this!
Things not to do. Picture. Yeah.
Right.
So where is everyone from? We have Flagstaff, we have Phoenix, we have Sierra Vista, Hereford, Tucson.
Tucson.
Oh,
Yay.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Tucson.
So,
Sholo.
Yolo.
What about? Do we have a Prescott? No Prescott.
no, Preston.
Do we have anyone from outside of Arizona? No?
No. You're
Ah,
from
welcome.
California.
Yes, very good.
And I'm sorry, English. What part of California? I was about to speak French to you. I don't know why. I literally have no idea why I was about to question you in French. So, what part of California? The Bay Area. Have you participated with the steampunks there? Oh my heavens! They do a convention that's extraordinary called Clockwork Alchemy in San Jose. And they're very, very avid, extremely active people. They're hugely into building huge things that actually work. They keep taunting me with their tea machine. I'm not joking. It's taunts at this point. But so you have people in the Bay Area, should you wish to find them.
And Gaslight down in San Diego.
And
Yeah,
Gaslight.
Gaslight's fun.
You know,
Gaslight Gathering.
Gaslight is my second favorite convention after,
Wild West.
Wild West Con.
Well, yeah, good answer.
Well, I mean, like,
Kinda biased.
they found me at Wild West Con and they kidnapped me from your convention.
Well, good, we allow that, yeah.
So I have to, remember my
As long as
loyalties.
it's not at the same time.
Right, yeah, as long as she's, I get her for that, so you can
Right.
borrow her.
No,
Yeah, sure.
I haven't found cloning technology yet. Anywhere else? Bakersfield!
Ooh, wonderful.
Oh my gosh! Sir, you escaped! It's so hot in Bakersfield. It doesn't matter when I'm there, it's hot there. So,
Kind of like Phoenix.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A cultural void. Yes, it's so big.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
Oh.
I was going to leave that for the Bakersfieldian. So, but what do we all do? I mean, we have a convention.
We
You
do, yes.
in March.
Well,
That's a big push.
All of us do the convention. Really.
But
Yeah.
you have it.
It's your baby.
I hatch it.
You and Diana are the
Incubated.
hosts,
Yeah.
and we're merely your minions with
Yes.
some powers of persuasion.
Hello.
Hey!
Speaking of people involved.
Do you have dates for the next one?
Yes, right here.
It's March.
It is March 2nd through 5th.
It's on my calendar.
Hello. And this right here, this is Diana Given.
Hi, you guys. I am so sorry I wasn't here sooner. How are you doing?
She's the other one that hatched it with Jason.
I'm sorry, you have to.
I have to say that in German.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Guten Morgen.
Oh, you have to introduce yourself.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Diana Given. Jason and I co-founded the Arizona Steampunk Society, and then we also started Wild West Steampunk Convention. And yeah, is there more I should say?
No, actually, we've been talking about you fondly.
Oh,
and how
it's
you
very sweet. They're lying,
Jason
right?
hatched the Wild Wild West Con, and we're all your minions. But we also run other groups, so.
No, these people are amazing. They all do crazy amounts of work.
Yes, it's true.
And we like it, apparently. We're workaholics.
Yes.
Now,
Is it masochist? Is that the word?
It is,
Yes,
yes.
it's the right word.
yeah,
That
that's
is correct.
Turkish for workaholic, masochist. Actually, it would probably be masochistchi if you want to, add some actual Turkish.
Did you say
to that.
masochist cheese? I don't know.
It's
He just
very
heard
close.
cheese. He's got a
was very
cheese problem.
close.
Okay, good.
It was close enough to sound like cheese.
So what do we do in our groups?
Right? Sabrina and John, I think the first time I met you, actually the second time I met you, because the first time was at Tucson Comic Con, and we bonded basically over the fact that John and I have red hair and you're awesome. That was like how we met. We were like, oh,
Seems
you're
right.
gingers and you're awesome. Let's hang out. But then I
all
met
it
you at
takes.
an event that you threw in Bisbee, right?
Yes.
Yes, we, the Huachuca Mountain Steampunk Society was a group of 6 people at the time, friends that had actually come to Phoenix Comic Con 2010, and we walked in the door and saw this couple and went, what is this? And then we went home, and John works with 3 of the other members, and we all got together and started talking, started looking up this thing called steampunk that looked very cool and right up our alley. And then next thing you know, we are forming a group, and we're throwing the Ether Aura Fair, Lavender and Lace Ball down in Bisbee with a very nice gentleman, Rob Page, who owns a couple of restaurants down in Bisbee. And he had the convention center and let us use his basement, which was really cool.
It was super cool.
Yeah, and so we put on this event, and then next thing you know, I mean, we thought maybe a couple of people from Sierra Vista, maybe some people from Tombstone, you know, certainly some people from Bisbee, and then here comes the Tucson Steampunk Society.
We're like a plague of locusts.
Like locusts.
The locust.
But we bring gears wherever we go.
And they're very shiny.
For those of you that have never been to Bisbee, if you want to go to see a late 1800, early 1900 type town and what it looked like during that time period, by all means go down there. And it was a huge town that had, at one time, I believe in the early 1901, it had more people living there since more than San Francisco did at the time. So, but it's a beautiful
Is that what
town.
you were gonna
Lots
say?
of lots of stuff for steampunkers. So
Yes,
it's
definitely.
awesome little.
And we'll actually be back there with the Tucson Steampunk Society. We're doing an event in August.
Yes, we're doing a whole weekend invasion, August 20th and 21st. So now if you're like in, let's say, Flagstaff, and we're like, no, come down for a 1-hour event. It's totally worth the bajillion-hour drive you have to make. We're making this one worthwhile for people to come and hang out for a weekend in like kind of a steampunk town. And I mean, it's got all of the wonderful Victorian buildings, and I mean, it also has hills and stairs everywhere.
Yes.
Lots
Lots
of
of
stairs, so you
Just
should
a couple, guys.
bring your passion for stair climbing.
Let's put it this way: they do a marathon there every year called 1,000
The
Stair
Bisbee
Climb.
Stair Climb.
Wow.
Bisbee Stair Climb.
Do
So
they have a nice close RV park or?
they do have one on the
Do
hill.
they have a nice close RV park, sir?
As long as the sinkhole's been filled in.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that's what we like about Wild Westcon, the RV park's right next door. We
Yep.
can go to that.
They do have one up on the hill, and they have a few
Kelly's
others in the
close.
surrounding area that is a short drive from there. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are RV parks, there are hotels. We will be opening a room block at the Oliver House, which is a historical hotel. And then, you know, there are some other, it's haunted, if you like that sort of thing. It is one of the haunted ones.
Yes.
Are they all haunted in
I think
Bisbee?
so.
I would imagine.
I think there's just so many
Probably.
people that were living there that had some issues and stayed around, decided to stay around in the town. So
So it's not like a convention, it's more like we've warned the town we're showing up like a posse
Warned them.
of outlaw steampunks. We're like, we're coming,
Taken over.
prepare.
Deal with it.
We're coming for your tea. If you don't give us tea, we don't know what will happen. So, but that's in August, and then we have a bunch of things during the summer as well, but we're very excited to go back to Bisbee.
Williams, Arizona is throwing National Train Day on the 22nd.
Of this month!
Splendid.
And they have a steampunk cafe there that asks for any steampunk to show up.
Nice.
Wonderful.
If you can get us that information, we'll definitely
Yeah.
put it out to the members.
But it's, they're trying to fire up you'll have the 2 steam engines fired up that day also.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, nice.
wonderful.
That sounds steamy.
yes,
And by the by, You know how people give us guff about our goggles sometime?
Yes, that'd be a
If
perfect
you're
place.
actually on a steam train of any variety, doesn't matter what you're wearing, you should have goggles. Because the coal dust
and the
and
ventilator.
the embers will actually get in your eyes.
Well, I wasn't planning on being the engineer for it.
No, it doesn't matter.
Really?
I was on a steam train in Durango, Colorado. I showed up in steampunk garb, which my family really loved. They were so delighted.
That's good.
Yeah, no.
Either that or they have fantastic coping mechanisms.
Were you doing the askew voice the entire time?
Only for the people who thought I worked for the train station. For my family, I tried to tone it down a little bit because they were already like trying to figure out how I'd flown with a bustle. But yeah, no, like I was the only comfortable person. I was in full Victorian regalia, and everybody else is like, I'm blind! I'm dying, it's so cold! I'm like, ha 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 ha! I've got goggles! I laughed menacingly a few times.
Yeah.
So, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I love telling the story of the first Wild West Con. Before it, we went down to Old Tucson, which is an old, very, very nice film set that's all dirt streets, dirt everywhere, and beautiful buildings. And we're walking down this basically empty street with all the employees around, and there's 12 of us walking down the street, and the wind picks up. And it starts rolling, and the dust lifts off the street, starts shooting down the street at everybody. And all of the employees start scattering and running, and all the steampunks go, huh, on with the goggles. And we proceeded down the street, and they're like, oh, that's why you have the goggles. That's wonderful. Like it's Arizona, yeah, dirt.
Dirt.
Not being blind. Being blind makes it harder to make things like
Yes.
tea.
Well, in time travel, you don't want your eyeballs to blow out.
Right,
Time traveling.
that would make for
For
terrible
me,
photos.
yeah. Yeah. I was planning on just staying here today and not time traveling. Obviously, I was late.
Well, once you go home.
Well, you have the switch set to off right now.
I do. I can turn it on.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we are. Illuminate.
Yeah, I have a couple of glowy items today, but it's kind of bright in here, so probably
But I
can't
can
see
see you glow from here,
Yes.
darling.
It's just the
Even
inner
before
thing.
you turned it on, really. Yeah. The radiant, that's what
Where's
it
my
is.
shades?
Yeah.
Radiating something, right?
Your future's so bright, yes.
So you all in Phoenix, the Arizona Steampunk Society, when we got started in Tucson, I remember I made like a pilgrimage to you. I
Yeah.
came up to one of your events and I said,
It was a
"Help
picnic.
me, Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
Rat Fromage."
We had
You're
such a
my
conversation.
only
I remember. Well, there was a Tucson Steampunk Society before that for a while that was active, and then it kind of had dwindled. And and then that's when we met Jocelyn, and we're like, oh yeah, let's do this. Let's totally have
Jocelyn,
these
yeah.
two groups that work together. This will be fun.
It has been good too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think when I stepped into the breach, there were 3 active members, including me in
Yeah.
Tucson. It's
Yes.
like, look, I just want to wear funny clothes. Don't need to be in charge, but I'll do it.
Right?
You kind of had to.
Yeah.
It was necessary.
Yeah, it
It was
happens.
necessary.
But the Phoenix group, our group, the Arizona Steampunk Society, we have somewhere around 2,000 members now on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
We have, to answer the question of what we do, we have monthly dinners. We have educational things where we get together and learn how to do rub and buff, or learn how to use foam, or how to apply gears in an appropriate way, or many, many other things that people are interested in.
Yeah.
And
We
really-
will meet up also like at conventions and things like this. Like we'll get together and meet up. It's a great excuse to get together and get dressed up.
Yes, always.
And many of your members are like principal volunteers for steampunk activities at conventions like this.
Yeah, and you know what? And not even just here. I mean, yeah, we have members that work for Wild West Con, of course, but also come down and do things like Tucson Comic Con and work in like events with you guys. And I also know like Jeff and his wife like travel to other states, even for example. But there's quite a few people that do that too.
I'm
That
trying
go out
to
and work at
kidnap
other conventions.
a few of your people for TusCon in November too. I'm like,
Oh.
no, come work for me. I have work for you. Also, I have George R. Martin. Don't you want to come work for me?
Oh.
I mean, I don't have him in my bustle like Tyrion, but He knows about the Tyrion situation, put it like that.
But we see each other as just a big extended family.
Well, I'd say my daughter's still a member, and she's currently in South Carolina.
Splendid.
That's right.
And she posted a picture of the costume she's working on in the barracks there. She's with the Navy, and she's a little reluctant to post it. She was so happy with all the different comments that she got.
I saw that.
Helping her improve it. And
Yeah, I saw that.
she says she's putting an East Coast flair on it now, so she will be.
I thought it was coming along rather brilliantly, considering the lack of resources she's dealing with. Yeah.
Right.
She's going to be an airship type.
That's
Splendid.
cool.
And she's in the Navy, huh?
Yes.
That works out very well, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it
So yeah, but we do a lot of things on Facebook. We do a lot of organizing and chatting about projects across our groups. There's a lot of cross-pollination. And I think one of the things I love is that a hallmark of Arizona Steampunks, regardless of the title of your group name or your airship or your special name for your sidearm, is that we're very friendly and supportive, and we like to help each other.
It really is. And I know many of us have traveled to other states and other steampunk conventions. And steampunk people in general, I think, are really kind of generally very creative and inclusive and supportive people. However, I have been to other states where there's a lot of drama. A lot of drama. And I don't know if it's just the sun, that we're just relaxed because it's kind of a flip-flop and t-shirt kind of state, right? Or what? But it honestly, whatever you think happens or doesn't happen here, it is so much more chill than back east.
Oh my heavens.
This is a valid point, yes.
Yeah.
I think we're too busy making fun things and enjoying each other's company to be catty.
And admiring other people's creations to worry about drama.
And trying to take over the world.
Yes.
Well, and that
Is
part.
that what we're going to do
note.
tonight?
Every night, people.
My daughter.
After the panel, right? Get back on that.
Actually, I was traveling to a convention elsewhere, and some steampunks from elsewhere stopped me, and they were like, this is sounding like bragging, and it is. I apologize. I'm sorry, not sorry kind of thing. Just bear with me. I'm just like PR for us. So they said, Madam Askew, you Arizonans, what you're doing in Arizona, I look at you as where I wish we could be, because it's it's Seattle and New York and Arizona for steampunk. And I was like, when did that happen? When did Arizona become steampunk destination? Then I was like, oh wait, Wild West Con's there. It's pretty righteous convention. And then we're all busy making things and taking over the world. So world domination, we're doing pretty
Yeah,
well.
we're on the way.
Yeah.
We're on the way.
Yes.
No, and we did want, when we started Arizona Steampunk Society, our intent was we were running into steampunks all over the place, but there was no cohesive place for people to get together. There just wasn't. And it was something that Jason and I were just really passionate about, steampunk, and just loved it so much and wanted people to have an opportunity to get together. And that was why we started Arizona Steampunk Society. And we grappled a lot with the different names and different ideas and how does this work. And in the end, really just made it so that people could have a way to talk to each other and support each other. And
Yeah.
I think that's worked out really well. And she's kind of joking, but in a way she's really not, because the last many years has been a lot of steampunk conventions, and I bring those up because that's a great gathering place for steampunks. And a lot of them have come and gone, actually.
Yeah.
And really, this is crazy, but we're kind of number 3 right now. Mm-hmm. Really, in the nation. I mean, I want to say in the world, but I can't really speak for other countries. But for sure in the nation, the biggest one is New Jersey's World Steam Fair is the biggest one. And then the next biggest one that's been around a long time is TeslaCon. Mm-hmm. And honestly, Wild West Con is about the same size as TeslaCon. It actually is. And TeslaCon's amazing, but it's held in a hotel. So you have your hotel limitations, and Wild West Con gets to be at Old Tucson Studios.
Madison, Wisconsin.
It's in November in Madison.
Yes.
Yeah, Middleton. It's actually Middleton. It's not even Madison. It's
Yeah,
Middleton.
it's the
Yeah.
opposite of here
Which
in
is
that
Madison's
you need
place.
to wear layers or
Exactly.
you might freeze.
Yes, there was. I have a great picture where we're trying to walk from the hotel across, right? And it's blizzardy snow.
We actually
right?
got snowed on. I'm like, what? This is Arizona.
Yeah, Michelle went with me, and Michelle had to show me how to like wrap the scarf. I'm from Arizona, okay? I've seen snow like 5 times. Yeah, so she's like teaching me how to wrap the scarf thing around my head and tuck it in everywhere so I don't dive, you know.
We didn't get the main hotel early enough. We could stay at the hotel across the street.
Yeah, and across the
So we get to
street's
walk
not
over
like
every
actually
day.
across the street. Across the street is like, oh, well, really, we mean across this large parking lot and that other field
Like
and
half
this
a block.
development area that they're working.
Like
Yeah,
half a
it's
block over.
pretty far,
Yeah, and the
actually.
6-lane highway that we are calling a street.
Right.
Yes.
It's
Because
actually pretty
apparently
far.
that's how they roll in Madison.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. We are on our way to take over the world. We really are. We really are. We're on our way.
Splendid, yeah.
We have an excellent start at it.
Lord Bobbins needs to watch out.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, and you know, last year it was really charming because they had their theme at TeslaCon was the Wild West.
It was. Which is hilarious.
Like, really?
We're all like, oh, we got this.
So a bunch of us headed up from here. Diana, you were there. Michelle, I was there. You were there.
Yeah, Kelly and Jim.
Kelly was there, her husband Jim. So we had this little tiny enclave of people from Arizona who go to Wild West Con, and we walk in, and I swear, I heard this noise, this jingling everywhere. Every time people would step, there'd be this jingle, jingle, jingle. I'm like, what's going on? Why does everybody jingle? Yeah, it's like that jingle. And then finally I realized that all these people who'd never actually been to the Wild West or any place in the Southwest, every one of them was wearing spurs.
Right.
It was a sea of spurs.
And you live
That's
here. How
hilarious.
many times
No
do
one
you see
ever wears
spurs throughout your day?
Right.
Right. Not very
Because
often.
I would never ride a horse into here. Because
No.
the parking for that would be wretched.
Right, and in
Your horse
Tombstone
would
even,
die 'cause
where
it's
you
really
might
hot.
Yeah.
ride a horse,
Right.
and we go there and do events. There's a Tombstone Steampunk Society, and you know there's like the Steampunk Challenge Parade in September that a lot of us participate in, and then there's Eldorado Days and Tucson Steampunk Society, and anyone we can like co-opt into our Borg parade entry that we do goes to that. But yeah, like 5 people wear spurs in Tombstone, and they actually have horses. And everybody else is like, why would we wear spurs? It's noisy. So it's really
now,
funny.
now I want to make a costume that has like 17 spurs
Injure
on each
yourself.
leg.
Well, they're beautiful.
You need it.
Yeah.
So for Cthulhu's, all of his tentacles need spurs.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. So many good ideas.
You need spurs.
Or bad ideas that sound good at the time.
You need spurs so that cacti doesn't get in your legs.
I can stick the cactus with my spurs.
Can we
and get
make
the
him
walk
some
right.
like armor boots that go up to his
revenge.
hips or something?
Yeah.
Right. Covered in spurs.
Spurtastic.
The battle armor.
Oh,
I
you
can-
can be
Right?
like an
That one.
armored cactus.
I can make spurious
Yeah.
arguments.
There's your next costume.
Oh, this is why you're Le Grand Fromage. Oh my heavens.
The jokes are bad, but they're free.
No, the jokes are cheesy,
Oh, no, they
but
cost.
they're free.
That too. Yeah.
The jokes are cheesy.
Yeah. So as you might notice, we enjoy having fun.
Yeah,
No,
good
it's a
time.
big feature, right?
Yes, it's rather vitally important, I do believe.
Yeah, I don't think any of our groups have like rules per se. I mean, I've never seen like a list or a handbook that you hand out to new steampunks from any of our groups.
Be respectful.
We do
That's
kind
it.
of reinforce that, like we legitimately do go with you don't have to show up in costume because maybe you're new and you don't have a costume, or maybe you're working on your new one and you don't have it ready yet,
Or you work.
or you don't know what you want to make yet and you want to come talk to people who know how to make things.
Or maybe
Or-
you just like to chillax and look at yours.
Yes, or it's ridiculously hot out.
Or
and
the
7
events in
layers.
Tucson and you get off at 6 and you got to run all
Yes.
the way up there.
Right, or sometimes we run into people also that are just like passionate about making things. They're makers, but they just don't happen to be a costume type person.
Right.
And
Yes.
they'll show up sometimes too, show all their amazing gadgets, but not in costume. That's
Yes.
okay.
But another thing that people sometimes do in other groups, not us, is they'll say, "Oh, well, that thing you're wearing, it's not period. That's not Victorian. That has a zipper on it," or something like that. And we say, "Psha! You enjoy the thing you made, and you're sharing it with us. How could we possibly hate on that?
Okay. Do you say Pasha?
We hiss.
I've totally said
Time
Pasha.
travelers.
Have you said Pasha?
I mean, I have definitely said Pasha.
I haven't said Pasha in forever. I was compelled.
But you know, it's funny because we had one of the other groups. There's another group, I won't mention their names, but they have somebody in their group that says, you know, they can't use a Phillips head, you know, screw because they weren't invented until like 1905 or 1902. And I said, hello, we have people like Diana that have time machines. How do you know we didn't move forward in time? Go meet this guy and say, we need your Phillips head screwdrivers in the past.
And I don't know about you, but I live in the alternate past that I made up myself. So damn it, it can have Phillips head screwdrivers if I want it to.
Yes.
And it does, by the way, it does.
And I live in a steampunk world where I add things like dwarves from Mordor with killer lemons.
Yes.
I am literally not remotely concerned about what kind of wretched screws people use.
We also didn't have walking robots either.
Right.
I'd like to say, I've known some people who've left SAS because they got too picky about their costumes.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I'm actually a SAS member, and when I joined, it was quite a long time ago, and I was really excited because I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to do this whole 50s, like, the Hollywood cowboy things. That's a category, right? So I started working on those costumes, getting my, like, fancy duds, right? And then they came out with some new rule changes, and their new rule changes said that to be in that particular category, you had to have drop holsters. So I don't know if you know what a drop holster is, but it means that it's a different configuration where the gun's not on the belt part, it like hangs down. Well, my father had just spent, I don't know, $500, a lot of money getting me custom belts and holsters and guns, you know, for Christmas, because he was really excited about me joining to go shoot with him. Beautiful, beautiful leather work. Not drop holsters. Not drop holsters. Yeah, so here I had spent like several years working on these costumes for this, and then my rig didn't fit the rules, so I actually can't compete in that category. And I wasn't going to go, you know, drop another large amount of money on you know, another rig for that. So yeah, absolutely that happens. Even in SAS that happens. And you know, we've tried in SAS for a long time to kind of have a steampunk category for people because, you know, there's Wild West. Most of my costumes are actually Wild West. I'm Sheriff Jane, you know, most of the time. So not today. I decided to go to Germany.
As you do.
But I mean,
yeah, as I do. You know, I travel, right? I am undercover.
There's a lot of folks that even try to say diesel punk, steampunk, whatever. Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't make distinctions, I think, any of our groups.
No.
We're like, it's not like you're going to show up with like chrome and we're going to be like,
Oh my God.
you wore chrome.
Oh, the horror.
The horror.
Shame.
Shiny chrome.
It's like a splodge.
I'm popular by this. Steampunk, diesel punk, Tesla punk, it's not mutually exclusive. Where do you think you get the power for diesel? Steam!
I said, there's
I mean,
a lot
I
of groups that do that.
Generate electricity. Absent lightning, water.
Well, I do like that on the website there's a real good definition of steampunk. When we first got started,
Good, yeah.
we were reading definitions and finding out where things fit, and the website had a lot of good information there.
Yeah, well, it's good to have kind of little dashed lines that say this is sort of the box, and you can sort of stay inside of it. But like creative writing or creative artistry is you start with a basis, and then you go outside the lines and you color wherever makes you happy.
And you know
I
what?
love that.
If you take a highlighter to a coloring book and you just scribble all over the place, it looks great.
Yeah.
It looks great. Forget the lines. Yeah, I'm not a big rule person either. I'm really not. In fact, that's one thing I do get a little bit offended by, kind of, if I see like articles and things that are like, ew, the 10 rules of steampunk or whatever. It kind of irritates me. I have always said that I'm more of a firm believer in like a set of kind of guidelines. So there's a bunch of guidelines that kind of make steampunk, and if you hit a bunch of guidelines that are in steampunk, you end up with steampunk. I mean, that's what happens. So, it doesn't have to be a particular set of colors. It doesn't have to be a particular style of clothing or a particular kind of material or a fastener or whatever. I mean, you can make steampunk out of just about anything, really, if you really want to. If you put your mind to it, it can happen, right?
Yes.
Well, we
Who
have
saw
a lot
that?
of
Oh, no, sorry, go ahead.
we have a lot of active members that, like David, he likes to dress like a cowboy, and I've never seen him with a ray gun or anything like that, but
Yeah.
we're not going to say, oh, you can't be in this group. No way. Of
Where's
course.
your ray gun?
He's a very active member. He helps us with a lot of events, and
Yes.
he's on the board of the Tucson Steampunk Society.
And
He just kind of lives in the Old West. Just honestly, like that's his day wear. Is like old Victorian cowboy Western wear. That's his day wear. Day
That's
wear.
another thing we try to, just to touch upon really, is the multicultural aspect of it. Is that the Victorian era was not just happening in England. And as much as I love to wear Victorian clothing, there's also, in the Orient or in, Arizona, there's Western steampunk. And that's what we do with the convention is Western steampunk. Or we do Cthulhu steampunk and give it a horror element. Or in many, many, many
Yeah,
different ways.
right.
To
Superhero
really show off that.
crossovers,
Yeah.
sci-fi crossovers.
Victoria was the Queen of England for a considerable period of time.
She was.
And then if you add into the fact that Tesla lived clear up to almost World War II.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a lot of footprint.
And the
Yes.
sun never sets on the English Empire.
There you go. Exactly.
They make sure of
Exactly.
it.
It's true also.
With
Yeah.
their flag policy, they're very canny.
Right.
And you know what? He brings up a really good point too, because that's very true. Because we kind of generally think of steampunk as kind of like what mid 1800s to like maybe 1910ish, like the
Edwardian
whole
era, yeah.
right. Victorian through Edwardian even, yeah, but again, these are guidelines. You could be like, no, my character's from 1830, or you could be like, I'm from 1912. I mean, whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is a guideline. It's
The diesel punks define themselves as between the wars.
Yeah. Well, and certainly between the wars and after the wars.
right, and diesel.
we're really pre-industrial revolution in a sense.
No, we're in industrial.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
there
but
was
I-
going into it.
Not the mass-produced.
No,
Yeah.
we're not mass-produced.
Exactly.
Because we
Thank
saw
God.
what happens in
Yes.
the mass-producing, in the, stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of anti-IKEA.
Right.
Oh.
Death.
Well, you could buy things there and then completely change them to be.
Yeah, I mean, if I went and got a bunch of stuff and glued it all over it, and added some blinky lights,
Just
and
glue some gears on it,
painted
right?
it, and sanded it, and dragged it behind a truck for a while, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the polo shirt on eBay that someone literally glued gears on and was trying to sell for like $100.
Oh, yeah.
Because they tagged it with steampunk.
Yes, steampunk tax is the enemy.
Right.
It's a
I'm
real
like,
thing.
it's a polo shirt from Kmart. I can see the glue and the gears. I mean, if you wore that to an event and you had made that shirt yourself, I'd be like, righteous. Great steampunk polo shirt. But on eBay, I was like, what are you doing? I know how much those gears cost.
Yeah, gears. We really like to try to either make gears be functional or make them have the appearance of being functional. But in the end, if you stick something for decoration, that's okay too.
Yes. I love making gears functional because gears is a technology. It's a way to make mechanical action happen. And so when gears fit together and work and all the rotation and all the power exchanges and planetary gears, I completely geek out.
It makes him very happy. In fact, his brain breaks a little bit when he sees gears that don't actually mesh together.
Oh,
I've seen
right,
it. He
where
kind
it's
of,
Or like the spurs on the end of the
automaton
gears are
shutting
square
down.
and they would destroy each other moments.
We're at a certain fitness club chain, and their walls have gears all over them. And
Oh.
every time we go work out there, he's always saying, "Those gears aren't functional. Those gears aren't
Don't
functional."
go
See
together.
if they turn and they would break.
Because they don't have the right kind of bevel on them. A proper gear has to have some sort of bevel just so it doesn't
Hey, wait,
wear on
are you
itself.
saying that's not period?
Yeah, right?
Early gears were square, they weren't countermeshed, so they really didn't work well together.
No, they
That's how were built.
yeah. Well, and now we have all sorts of cool. I have software. Okay, I am a geek. I have software that designs the gears so the gears will mesh together just right, so you can pick the pitch angle.
This is
and
a true
everything.
story.
Yeah.
He
Gear
bought
program?
gear
Like
software
gear program
to
that
create
does the chain
gears.
too?
Yes,
Yeah, it's
yes.
awesome.
I love how they do like oblong gears and stuff because you can actually do neat stuff. Like Disney has a software program where
All right,
you
come
can
back.
make animation.
I know, I'm like,
Get the water.
we're
Get the
really
bottle.
letting them know how steampunk
Squirrel.
Really likes
right
Yes.
at this moment.
Yes.
The 80s.
Prime example.
Shiny.
So if you're asking the question, what happens when we go to events? Jason talks.
Yes.
And this is what happens when we talk about gears. Because I was about to draw some scarab analogy, but then he was
It's okay. I
talking
think
about,
we're all a little
you know,
distractible. It's maybe something that helps us all get along really well, right? Right? I mean, if you
Excellent.
follow me around in that floor for any length of time, you will see me get lost. You know those little tethers they put on children?
Oh, yeah.
Put one on me or I'll be lost, right?
And this is why our meetings usually take about 6 hours.
Pretty.
Ooh.
Shiny.
Oh,
Scarab.
shiny. Is that a scarab? Yes, it is. Beautiful.
Ooh, it
I
is
have
shiny.
like this whole scarab gear analogy theory.
And it opens.
Yes.
Perfect.
Nice.
Love it.
Watches.
I love it.
I love watches, even though I never wear one, which is a long story.
That's because I slam them against
Boom,
walls.
nice
It's mechanical.
watch.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, so did we have any questions?
Yes.
Yes. Questions
questions?
are good.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, would you like
Give
to
us
be
your phone
involved?
number and start coming to meetings.
You just basically
Log in and say,
yeah.
can I be added to the group? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, none of us have dues, right?
No?
No.
No.
No, there is occasionally a special indoctrinization, but it's like optional. It involves gears, obviously. We sit you down with Jason for tea and a discussion of gears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you make it through that. You make
You
it
could
through
suffer through
Then
that.
you're good, yeah.
I know last June we had one of the meets in Prescott.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was real convenient for us. So
Did anybody not
summertime,
get
get
a-
out of the heat. We'd love to see you do some stuff.
Yeah.
Up the hill.
Yeah.
We should pass these out.
Love Prescott.
Help you find venues and do something.
Actually, that's really helpful.
Yes, that
That's
would be
really
good.
helpful. If you do know of venues that will happily accommodate large groups of people, yeah, no, that actually is really helpful because sometimes that's difficult, especially when it's in another city like that. When it's an hour or so away, it's a little more difficult for us to vet.
Yeah.
Yes. Could you hand back those?
Or Facebook us and we'll find a venue if we want to do something
Yes.
on Flagstaff.
Yes.
Oh, right. I am like not the one to pass things out for so ever many reasons. We have these lovely flyers made by the Arizona Petty Dreadfuls,
Which is another group here in Arizona.
and D is like their erstwhile tyrant in chief. Yes. You know, it's not easy being a tyrant, is it, darling?
No, I let the Englishman pretend he's the tyrant.
They do in England, actually. Yeah. I know, they let them pretend that they're tyrants when they have no authority. It's lovely.
Well, Tyranny's better with a good accent.
I didn't mean to jump over here and take over. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that they had a list of resources here and some of the groups and some of the conventions.
Yeah, it's got the listing for the actual, so you can like find the websites and things, and also the different months that there's different steampunk conventions and things are listed on here, and some upcoming Arizona events. So it's a wonderful little resource. It's beautiful.
And if you want to see more steampunk stuff here next year, then definitely poke the people at PCC
Yes.
and
Yes.
tell them more steampunk stuff. So
Facebook Phoenix Comic Con,
Yes.
or email Phoenix Comic Con, or contact those people in whatever way and tell them if you love steampunk and you would like to see more. Yeah,
And I think
because
almost
otherwise
all
they
of
don't
it-
know.
I was just gonna say, all of us have Facebook pages. I have a few cards on me for hours, and,
Oh, yeah,
and I
yeah,
can
yeah.
either redirect or we can go online and we can tell you where they are. But they're right.
Well, so for Arizona Steampunk Society, we did that because at the time when we started Arizona Steampunk Society, I mean, Facebook was pretty big, but we found that there was a lot of people that were still actually not on Facebook. And and so then we went ahead and we said, well, let's go ahead and do the meetup site also. And a lot of people found us through the meetup site, and then they came over to the Facebook, a lot of them. But that was the only reason. It's really, it's nothing different. It's really just kind of a mirror. We try to just make sure we're mirroring the events getting posted, because meetup's a little easier to find events.
Yeah, because a meetup, you can actually enforce a limit to how many people go to an
Right.
event, and Facebook doesn't have that feature.
Right.
So for some things, we can only have so many people in a venue.
And
so
you
it
know,
makes it
it's
easy.
usually things like dinners. It's usually things like dinners, because some restaurants are just really like. Well, there was one that we used to really love
yeah.
to go to in Mesa, they actually only had like certain rooms that you could use. So if you had the clock room, for example, it was actually a clock room, but it only held 25 people. That was it. Like you just couldn't physically cram. It was a tiny little room about the size of like this table up here, and you just couldn't physically cram anyone else in there. So Meetup was really good for that because then that way people were actually logged in, and it does an auto wait list, so we don't have to worry about trying to keep track of.
We learned that the hard way because one of the last dinners we did in the clock room, we had a space for 25, 30 people, and about 65 people showed up. And so they actually just moved us into the main room. We took over almost all the main room.
And they were lucky that day that they were able to move into the main room because that particular restaurant was usually full, like all the time.
They were dead that night, I think.
It was at the Landmark.
Well, they're closed now, so apparently they don't
We
count.
do that too at the Pinnacle Peaks down in Tucson, and they haven't kicked us out or stopped us yet. So because they have a bunch of large rooms, so we just kind of give them a roundabout number, and they pick a room, and they can expand tables or move us into larger rooms as we show up. So
the delightful thing about Pinnacle Peak is they love us because we come in costume to their Old West theme park, and we look like we work there, and they're like, great, now come. Yeah, no, totally. You should do dinner here. That we'll accommodate you. And then the other thing is, if they're like, just bring, we just need 20 people for a reservation, but we'll totally take 120 if you have them.
Yes.
Just let us know 24 hours in advance. So they're used to tour groups, like tour buses showing up. So that is like perfect situation for an event.
Right. And we do a lot of with Ticket Leap too. If it's going to be a select number of people or an event that's going to cost money, the TSS will post the link for the Ticket Leap page, and that way we can keep track.
And that's the other reason for Meetup, because if it does require some kind of fee, then we'll do Meetup.
They'll collect it.
We occasionally would run into a restaurant that insisted that we would do some certain kind of a caterer situation where it was like a per person cost. And by the way, no one seems to like that, so we try to never do it.
Yeah.
But that was the other reason for Meetup, because then if we had to collect money beforehand, then people could just pay it on Meetup, and we didn't have to worry about shuffling in person.
Because for our dinners and things, you can come and show up and just have tea. Tea's perfectly acceptable.
Right, so you probably don't want to pay $18 or $25 for the meal if you're just coming for, tea or dessert or something.
Exactly.
Probably. I don't know.
But
Maybe you're made of cash.
The other thing, if you are thinking about starting your own group in your own town and you're thinking about events, we learned at our last large Dickens Tea, because we do a very big event in December every year called the Dickens Tea, and I invite you all because it'll be our 5th annual one. It's probably going to be like gears to the grind for this one. It's a new expression, not what was going through my head. And but the thing is,
you said gears.
Yeah, I did. Last year we ran out. We sold out of our spaces before the event started. As you do, with concerts and movies and things, you can run out of space. And we had some people who were sad that we'd run out, and also shocked that we'd run out. And I never thought about that as an event planner, that I needed to specify that we did not have a TARDIS for our event. So I've yet to find a TARDIS restaurant. I'm looking for it. And if you are running events, I encourage you to actually state your cap, because people will want to know. And if you're trying to really pump your event up.
In other words, sometimes it works, and they show up in droves sometimes.
Yes. It is one of the things when you run events that's the uncertainty is you have on Facebook I'm definitely going or I might be going, and you have 3 times the people might be going, so your variability on your event is huge. We'll have 60 people reserve, and somewhere between 20 and 70 people will show up sometimes. It's a thing.
Really that's absolutely true. Yeah. You never know. You'll have 65 people sign up and 20 show up or 18 show up, or you'll have 20 that signed up and 65 show up. It's not, you can't.
Yes. Well, and that's where depending
definitely
on how you
coming turns into maybe coming, and not coming turns into I showed up at the last minute. Yeah, you don't always know.
Yes. But as Jocelyn alluded to, if you're interested in starting a group, come talk to us. We're rather friendly.
And we do all have presences on the Facebooks. TSS does have a meetup page, as well as using Ticket Leap for our certain events like Dickens, which we have not found the TARDIS for yet. So we still cannot, have the world, even though we want the world. It's hard to take over the world in that situation. But we're all there, and really, I asked Diana and Jason for advice when I took over the Tucson Steampunk Society. It was invaluable, and they were very helpful. And now Tucson is its own going concern. We're having a 5th year of is insanity a good descriptor for the level of events we do?
Is there something more than insanity?
Glorious madness?
Glorious madness.
Yes.
5 years of glorious madness in Tucson.
And here's how well they're doing. Recently, I was someplace, not steampunk at all, just randomly talking to somebody waiting in line. And they're like, oh, yeah, I just was living in Tucson, and steampunk came up. And first I'm always happy and delighted when someone actually knows what steampunk is when I'm randomly talking to a stranger. But I was like, oh, so, how do you know about steampunk? He's like, oh, well, I was just living in Tucson for the last couple of years. I was like, Tucson Steampunk Society. This is how you know about steampunk. They're very active. Very active.
We go places, too. We just sort of invade. Again,
Yeah, well, it's not somebody in steampunk either. It's just someone that just knows because they run into you guys.
We talk to people.
We do.
We're like, oh, we invade your town, we're going to talk to you and give you tea.
We talk to ourselves, too, but that's different.
Yes.
So we have 5 minutes left, my darlings.
Yes.
So to go back to your question, how do you join? You say, I want to be a member on Facebook, and then you RSVP and show up to an event.
Did you remember?
Yes, please do.
Yeah,
and Huachuca Mountain does not have a meetup page. We just have the Huachuca Mountain page, and then of course it's a lot of cross back and forth with Arizona and Tucson Steampunk Society too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have active discussion boards for Arizona Steampunk, so if you want to know how to build something, make something, modify something, fix something, get on there, and we have people who know all the things.
Yeah, you can ask questions, or it's also really fun actually to post your, if you're working on a project, your progress pictures as you go along. Oh, yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. That's one of the fun things I have coming to Phoenix Comic-Con, looking around, because up to Phoenix Comic-Con, a lot of people will post the projects that they're working on for this con. And so, yesterday I ran into somebody who was like, oh, I was watching your progress online for the last, month or two. So, yeah, post your progress, and especially if you have questions or you're not sure, hey, should I use this glue or this glue? Or
especially with the glues.
Weld it?
Yeah.
What should I do?
We have a lot of tips on the Foundry as well, and then we also highlight other folks that are building things as well as cross genres. So if you're building something for, let's say, a 40K Warhammer or Avengers outfit, there's no reason why you can't use some of the same techniques and then make it a steampunk costume. So I host a lot of those on the Foundry site as well. So
they make amazing things with the Foundry.
Yeah, amazing things.
Yes.
Amazing things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did anybody see the fashion show yesterday? Rock Monster. He saw it. He was in it.
He kept us all in line in the back with Deep.
The guy that won the Masquerade at Wild West Con was the Mermaid Hunt. That was just fabulous.
Oh,
yeah, he got third place.
Was that Gilbert?
They took third place.
Do you remember the diving suit? Do you remember that was him?
That was him. Yeah.
That was John. Yeah.
So John did the diving suit, and Gilbert and Gabriel did their mermaid
diver.
There's one of his friends that they worked together on that suit that they did. They also did Slimer that was in the Masquerade last night.
They did it to Slimer a couple years ago. We saw it.
Yep.
Yeah, and Frankenstein too. But they're all we've harangued them.
They had a great clinic at Wild West Con. Their clinic was really nice.
They're in Tucson. They're brothers. We call them the Brothers E because we can and because they let us. They're sort of like, okay, you crazy steampunks, all right. But they make amazing things, and they also run workshops, and they have a group called Tinker Cosplay. Just Tinker, not an extra which is important because we have the steampunk Tinker-ers. And the reason we have the extra is because someone named Madame Askew thought that was extra funny, and no one was around to stop her.
It's delightful. delightful.
I'm like, extra it's just funnier.
Tinker
with more
Earths.
Well, when we made the Arizona Steampunk Society, we didn't think about acronyms.
Oh.
Because the is human.
To is human. And, yeah, no, I never think about the acronym.
I know, right? No, apparently I didn't either. Yeah,
People don't say A for Arizona, they say AZ.
Yeah. So
right, well, we hope so.
Right.
It's a joke. It's a running joke.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a running joke.
We
Arizona
always call you
Steampunk Society.
AZSPS.
Okay, so we have a one moment to
Hey, you're
finish up.
members.
Are you raising your cane with a question, dear sir? Or are you just raising your cane?
Did anyone else have other
Okay.
questions?
Because you're delightful.
Yes. Wow.
I like his.
It's like, that
I
wasn't
know,
my arm.
right?
What
Pith
are you
helmets,
talking
yay.
about?
So, yes, I think we have to wrap up, but
Right.
If you didn't get anything, or if you have any questions, I do have a few cards on me for our stuff that we have, and there are some if you didn't get a postcard for up front. But again, we're all online. There's plenty of Facebook sites,
There are
so
ribbons up here
by all
for your
means.
badges.
yes.
If you have a question about one or the other and you don't remember who it was that said it, we'll push you over to that direction.
Yeah, and feel free to stop us if you see us out and about and
Yes.
you would
Yes.
like to ask a question.
Yes.
Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you so much for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thank you so
coming.
much
Thank you
for
very
coming.
much.
Going to the concert? They postponed it.
They postponed it, yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network. And feel free to enjoy our other shows, such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.